Welcome to Get Simplified channel. In this lesson, we are going to take a look at analyzing your data in phase 2 using spreadsheet. The easier way or the simpler way of analyzing your data in phase 2. Now, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for me. And then always, if you want to get some of these content, just also activate the notifications for me. Right. So in phase 2, what is expected from us in phase 2? Let's take a look at phase 2, what we need to do. First of all, we need to gather external data from external source. And then we can gather these data from either through a survey or through our online or maybe our phase 1 when we were doing the questions. Let's say, for instance, the ethics concern in AI-driven assessment in education. From UNESCO website, we got this data that we can now put them as a table. And also this website, we got this data as well that summarizes the information. So basically your summary that contains a numerical values, you can take them and put them as a table in spreadsheet. Like this that I have here with the category or the type of data. And then the second column will be the summarized information. Then the third one will be the source where you got the information from as well as the year. So we can create this as external data in either spreadsheet or database so that we don't lose that part of markup. Or alternatively, if you had external data that contains graphs, you can also do that. Right. Now, when you are done with this, we need to do some few calculations. Now, for the spreadsheet analysis technique, you need to do descriptive stats, frequency count, and then the ranking analysis, whereby we'll be using the text split and others, or you can use the text functions also. Then if you have the age and you want to do some calculations there, comparing with other things, you can use also the pivot table together with other questions or the average if or different chart. And then also, we can also have data analysis for the descriptive use for the questions like, let's say, positive, neutral, negative, and other questions, responses. Then also we need histogram, bar chart, and pie chart, at least 2 or 3 graphs. We have to create them as well. Now, don't forget to make sure that you have gone through all these levels. Whatever you do, it must follow these levels, and your spreadsheet must be neat. You must just organize them nicely in different worksheets so that it will be easily noticed by the person who is going to mark your page. Right. Now, let me take you through the analysis here. Let's say, for instance, this is the data that we gathered, and we have captured either through using or exporting to Excel from your online forms, or if you did it using hard copy questionnaire, you can capture them also nicely like this. Now we have different types of questions that we are going to take a look at them. We have different types of questions, so I'll be taking you through them and then how to analyze each of them. So we have questions like the gender, which is the different categories. Then the question like, are you familiar with AI tools in education? Yes and no questions. Awareness of AI in education, also yes and no. And then AI applications, familiar with. So like this type of question, if the applications are many, and this you can use the pivot table, will come to that. Then we also have the ranking type of questions and then recommendation which is numerical values. So we will look at how we will analyze each of these categories. First of all, when you have your data, you need to duplicate this data by right-clicking and then move or copy. Then you create a copy so that we have two. The first one, we can just rename it as raw data. And then the second one, we'll rename as, let's say, formatted data, or you can give it different names. Then we need to create another one also. That's the external data. And then we create another worksheet and name it as graphs, or maybe you can say analysis. Right. So don't forget to right-click on each of them and change the tab colors. You can change different, give it different tab color. Now, this is our raw data, so we'll leave it as it is. Don't do anything to it. But your formatted data, when it comes to your formatted data, that is where you need to use conditional formatting, changing the table and the rest. Right, sorting, whatever you want to do there, you apply them here. So the first of all, you must make sure that everything is visible. All your text, you can wrap text, make sure that your data is visible. Then the second thing is you apply, let's say, conditional formatting. Let's say I want to apply conditional formatting on perception of AI impact. So when you select conditional formatting, you want to highlight, or maybe you can use this one, ethical considerations. Conditional formatting, data bar, or you go to manage rules, add new rule. You can use color scale. You can use data bar or icon set. Let's say I want to use data bar, and then I can use the solid one with different colors. Let's say green and you can show data only, then the minimum value, and then the maximum value, choose automatic. Right. So you apply data bar as conditional formatting, or you can use icon set or different conditional formatting. So here I can use conditional formatting to highlight only those that are equals to agree. At least one conditional formatting. And then secondly, you can also use what we call data validation. Data validation, so on the formatted data. Now we want to use data validation whereby there will be options for us to select. Now, you know this question, column D, familiar with AI has yes and no type of question. So what can we do to this one? First of all, you must type the yes and no somewhere. You can just type them here and then no. Then we want to apply them. So you select this column, only the values. And then conditional, no conditional for data validation, you find it under data and then data validation. Now, if you don't know where to find it, just go to search, you type validation. You will find data validation. And then because you want the options, allow any value, you change the any value to list. Then the source, you click here to go and select the source of the value. Remember, we type them here, yes and no. So now we are going to have the options here that we can choose. If you like, you can do for all of them that has options or available to get maybe marks as well. Right, and then we can also apply validation rule. There's also a validation rule. You can apply to numerical value or just the other values also, so that people cannot enter any other values. So now how do we apply validation? Let's say this one, rating from 1 to 10. So you select them, still under data validation. And then here where it says any value, this time we choose the whole number. You can apply to date, or you can apply to text, or you can customize it. So the whole number, and then choose between 1 to 10. You know, let's look at other things here, not between, equals to, less than, and then the rest. So depending on the type of data that you have, you can apply some of these criteria. And then you go to input message, you type the message. Only values from 1 to 10 may be allowed. Right. So, meaning that if somebody type any value above 10, let's say 12, it's going to give an error message. Then the error code here is the only values 1 to 10 to guide the person how they must capture the data as well. So that is one is data validation. So you apply one, conditional formatting, data validation, also under the formatted data. Right, with this, we can equally also use, like especially the ethical considerations ranking. Because this one is ranking, we can use a function called text split, and then we group them as well. Or the older versions, you will see text to column. Text to column or text split. You can use any of them, and then it will work. So if you don't have text split as a function, you can use text to column from data. Right, now I want to split this. What is the essence of text split function? As you can see here, we have different texts that are combined, and they are being combined using the comma. So I want to split them into different columns. So you can use text to columns, or you can use the text split. Now let me use the text split. Equal sign, text split. Can you go to FX? Then here the text is this one, J2. Co-delimiter is what is separating the text, which is semicolon, and then row 1 also semicolon. Click OK. So as you can see here, it's going to split them for you. Right. So basically, you can use text split, but in these calculations, better you do them in data analysis. Now, I can go to data analysis, the same ranking, and I bring that data there by using what we call the sort. Sort function, equal sign, sort, and then you click on FX, and then the array is that one in formatted. So the array is this one. And then you are sorting by array is this one. Then you are sorting according to 1. And then the ascending order is 1. Then descending order is -1. So now when I put ascending order, it will be sorted for me. Now with this sorting part, you can just modify them. You can just say this first part here, you highlight it as yellow. The second part that starts with the data privacy, and this is only one, you highlight, you give a different color. So basically you give them different colors to know those rankings. Then you can now see how many chose the ranking from bias mitigation to data privacy, fairness, and then transparency. You can easily see them when you give them different colors. Right, that is the sorting, and then also text split. Now, when you are done with all this, we are now moving straight to our descriptive and then certain calculations. Now, the descriptive calculations, first of all, what is needed? We can use the descriptive analysis and histogram. We can use the Countif and then the others. Now, first of all, for you to get a data analysis, when you go to data, you must see data analysis. If you don't find it, you can just go to File, Options, and then you see Add In. Then you find here for the Add In, Manage Excel Add In, then you click on Go. Now it's going to give you the Add In, that's the Analysis toolpak and Analysis toolpak VBA. So if they are unticked, you can just take them. You see now, if I untick, I won't find it here. So I just go to File, Options, Add In, and then you click on Go, then you can now take on Analysis toolpak. Very important for your analysis. You will need that one. You also need other analysis tools in spreadsheet. Right. So now when I click on the analysis, let's go back to our formatted. I want to do some analysis here. Okay, this one was the test split. Now I want to do certain analysis. Descriptive analysis here. So what I will do here is that I can use numerical values like ranking and recommendation. Or if you don't have numerical values, you can use the if statement to convert these tests that are not numerical into numerical values. Let's say the awareness of AI in education. I can create another column. So I just type awareness of AI in education. Now I'm going to use the if statement to convert all these into what we call numerical values. That is, yes will be 1, no will be 2, and then unsure will be 3. So I can use the if statement to display this. Or I can use ifs as well to display. Now, let me use the if statement. Equal sign if, then you click on FX. So the logical text, if E2 is equals to yes, and then value if true, I put 1. Then I go to value if false. I open another if function, then we open bracket. The moment you open bracket, go back to the formula bar. You see bracket, open bracket, close there. Click inside it. It's going to give you the second logical function and function argument for the second if. Then you click on E2 again, equals to no. Then value if true will be 2. Otherwise, we assign 3. So here, I can just autofill. So meaning 1 is for yes, 2 is for no, and then 3 is for unsure. So you can do for also the strongly agree, strongly disagree, like that. And then let me use that one for agree and strongly disagree also here. So this is perception. Right, so I can use ifs also here. I want to make use of ifs function. So logical text H2 equals to agree. Then it should give you 1. And then also H2 equals to strongly agree. So it should give you 2. Logical test 3, again, H2 equals to, we have neutral. Now, you would think that there's no space here. Just go this side and scroll down. Neutral is equal to 3. H2 equals to strongly disagree. Then it will be equals to 4. And then H2 equals to disagree. Equals to 5. So when you use ifs, it becomes easier. You don't need to be always clicking on that. It will pick all the categories here, and then click OK. Right, so there are 5 categories. You must take note. Agree is 1, strongly agree is 2, neutral 3, strongly disagree is 4, but you can just interchange them. You must know them, what each category is. Now, when you have this, these are now numerical values that you can apply the descriptive state on. Now, how do we perform descriptive state? First of all, like I said, you go to data analysis, and then you will find here descriptive state. Okay. Now it says the input range. You select the heading and its values. Then you take labels in first row because that's the heading. And then we want the summary state. You want the summary state. If you want the second largest and third largest, you can just tick this. Let's say I want the second largest value and then the second smallest. But in this situation, it's not needed. But when you are using the ranking values, you can do that. Right. Then where do we place them? The output, where are we placing them? So you take output range, you click inside there. Then where are we going to place our answer? Like I said, we want to put our answer here. Let's say we want to put our answers here. We click there and then okay. So it's going to give us our descriptive state, awareness of AI. Remember, it was in a form of qualitative data, which is not numerical, and now we converted to quantitative data using the if statement. Then we can now perform the descriptive state on it for the mean. The mean is 1.8, which is the average. You can bold this part. The standard error, standard deviation, median, mode, that is 1. That means one appears most, which is yes. So meaning here you can interpret it as majority. Remember, one is yes for that part. So meaning majority answered what? Yes. So one appears most, the range, the sum, and others. So with this, the same thing, you can also use the level 1 type of calculation. You can use that one. You can just copy this. You can copy this table. After using the descriptive step, you can copy this table also into your analysis. And again, you can just have similar table. By this time, the question is going to be the perception of AI impact. Now, perception of AI impact, that's the one we want to also use. So with this perception of AI impact, you can now put them, like we say, agree is one and those ones. So you can put them in your analysis. So you can just say perception. Right. And then we are going to calculate the mean of that. So here you use a function. We are going to use a function called average. Equal sign, you can create the average here, equal sign average. And then the range, you go to formatted. Then you select the values. So this is our average. Now we need to convert this average into maybe 2 decimal places. So we can use round function. Fx. And then you click on the number. How many decimal places? 2. So here we have the round function together with average. Then we will be catering for this part. We are going to cater for this average function in level 1. Then you cater for the round function also in level 2. We can also use the sum and median for the same thing for level 1. You can use more than one function also as well. So here we calculated our average with round. You don't need a standard error, so you can delete that one. Maybe you don't need median. So you can now cut your mode here. Then we calculate our mode. We can calculate our mode as well. Right, so we have mode, we have mean. You can use sum also, all level 1, but if it's not needed, you can just delete them. You don't need most of these. Right, when you are doing the calculation. Now, we have catered for our level 1 using the average, and we cater for level 2 using round function. Don't forget, we also use if statement and nested if to convert them. So basically, you have catered for all of them. So we need to use other functions also. You can use the text functions and others. Now, let me take you through another important way of also analyzing this data. Remember, we use also sort function, which will give you extra mark, which is level 4. Another way of doing this is the histogram to get the graphs also done, and then the pivot table. Now, because we have this strongly agree and disagree, we can create a histogram out of it using the data analysis. So now, we want to use data analysis by going to data analysis. This time around, we don't need descriptive. We are done. we go to histogram, which is the frequencies, Now, before you can do the frequencies, first of all, check this perception of AI impact. It is 1 up to 5. So meaning 1 is for agree, 2 is for disagree, 2 is for strongly agree. Or we can even change this one to make it easier for us. The agree should be 2. And then the strongly disagree will be 1. Neutral is 3. And then disagree is 4. Then strongly disagree is 5. So that it becomes easier, we don't forget. Right, so now, with this data, we can now create a histogram from it. How do we create histogram? You know, histogram, there should be a range. We call it the lower bin and then the upper bin. So let's say we take our upper bin. Now, because from 1 to 5, we start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here is our upper bin. Right. We don't have 0, it's only 1 to 5, but then we just, for the sake, that means from 0 to 1, that's the range. That's why you put a 0 there. Now, how do we do the histogram? We are going to put a histogram here. So I go to data analysis. Then I choose histogram. Now the range input, that is where you select the values. So the values are here in column H. So you select them. You tick the data level. And then the bin range, that is your categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You select it. Then we need cumulative percentage. We need a chart or graphs out of it. So you take these two. Then an output range, where do you want to place them? You want to place it here. Then later we'll cut it. Then okay. So this is what we have here. We have our charts, which we are going to modify. And then we have our cumulative percentage. And we have our frequency. So meaning here, these are the category 1, 2. 1 means strongly agree. We had 5 of them. 2 means agree. So you can rename them properly, maybe by the side. So you change the 0 to category. And then here, options. So let's say here is yes. This one is strongly agree. This one is agree. Neutral. Disagree. And then strongly disagree. So here, just like using the Countif. So it will group your work nicely for you using the frequency, and then it give you a chart as well. So now we have category 1, which is strongly agree, 5 people chose, which contributes percentage of 19.323%. And these ones also. Don't forget, if you want to run it to the 0 decimal place, you can do that as well. Right, so the majority were in 2, which is agree. They agreed to that principle. You can put a heading there, and then you cut them as well to the analysis table, analysis worksheet. Now, the same graph here, you can change the graph by changing the heading, which is perception of AI. And then also this frequency here, this one here, you can just say options or categories. And then this 1, 2, 3, you can change them so that it reflects in the graph also. So one is, you just copy this one again. You paste them here so that it will be on the graph. It will update automatically in the graph for you. Right. So now if you don't want this part here, you can delete that one if you don't need it. And you need only the values. Right. And also you can convert this chart if you don't want it to be all in histogram. Like let's say you have histogram, others are not in histogram. You can just go to the chart design and then you go to move chart. You have to move this chart to analysis. So now we have our chart somewhere here. Then we can drag them. You can have a space for only chart, a space for only your tables, your frequency tables. So now here you can bring your frequency table, you cut and paste here as well. Now, let's say this graph, we don't need this graph. You can now change the graph, change chart type. Let's say to pie chart. So you can change to pie chart as well if you don't need that. So basically with a histogram, you can still change it to pie chart and different chart types. But then your table is also there. Don't forget to take all the tables to the analysis page. So this is all about the frequencies, and then you put the headings there to display what this table is all about, perception of AI. AI in education. Right, then you can cut it to the other analysis worksheet. Right, so this is about the frequencies using the data analysis and then the descriptive analysis as well. Now, if you want to also use Countif, you can do that. Let's say we want to use Countif and percentages. Let's take our data to this worksheet. Now, this is the perception of AI in education. You can just duplicate them. Now, this is another heading. Let's say we want to use it for another question, which is the awareness of AI. Or even another type of question. Let's say positive impact of AI in education. So you change the heading, positive impact. And then you put the option, let's say yes, no. I don't know what. Yes, no, and then unsure. There are 3 categories. So we don't need the other ones here. You can delete this part. Then the frequency, we use the Countif or Countif. Equal sign Countif, the range. Then you go to formatted and then you select the values. And then the criteria, you put yes, or you can say Y star, so 17. Here also Countif. Now you want no, so you can say N asterisk, that is starting from letter N and other characters that we don't know, or other words. So you got 4, that's no, or you can just say N star. And then unsure also Countif, equal sign Countif. or you can use Countif as well for more than one criteria. So I'm sure it starts with letter U. So U star. Right, so we got this. Then we can calculate percentages for this, which is cumulative percentage. First of all, we must find the sum, total. So we just say total. Now, how do you calculate the percentage? It's equals to, then you click on the value here, which is 17, divided by the total times 100. Because it is already on percentage, we don't need to type times 100. Otherwise, if you have not formatted that percentage, you leave it. So this one also equals to this value here, divided by this 26. Then when you format it as percentage, it will change to percentage for you. Equal sign. This divided by this one. Now, so it gives you the percentages. And this one, you use the Countif, you use the sum, and then the arithmetic calculations also. Here, we use the histogram and then the graph. So this, we can also use this one to draw our graph. You select, insert, chart. Let's say you want to use pie chart as well. Then you can now take the element, data label, data callout. Then you change the title and add it. Then you move it to the analysis page as well. Move chart to analysis. So it's already there. Then you arrange them nicely. It should be at least three different charts. So if this one is histogram, we can change the chart type to the column chart. And then this one, don't forget to put the heading. In most cases, learners finish, they forget to put the heading and data labels. Here, data labels also take them. Right. So basically, that is how we draw the graphs and then these frequency calculations. And then the last part for the analysis will be using the pivot table as well. Now I can use pivot table for one of the questions, especially this one, AI application familiar with. They are too much, so we can use pivot table. You select it. Then you go to insert, recommend pivot table, and then okay. Now, look here, it's going to create another sheet for you. You just have to cut it into your analysis sheet. So make sure here is count because it's qualitative data, it should count. So AI tutors, that's the different applications. Four people said they are familiar with it, and other personalized learning AI tutors 3, and that you see, it has categorized for you. Now, you can manipulate this. If you don't want it to be in rows like this, you can change it to columns. You drag it to columns like that, or it should be in rows. And if you want to compare with another question, this one with a positive impact, you take positive impact. So you see the AI2 with the impact. You can change them as well. The impact will be the top, and then the 2 will be below. So they know, they said they have used only these 2. And sure, they said only these 3 tools that they have used. Yes, those who said they have positive impact, look at the tools that they have used. So you put the positive impact and then the AI2 below. That means the positive impact will be grouped first, followed by the AI2. So that's how we use to categorize. You can compare two questions as well using the pivot table. And then you copy, then you paste it in your analysis. You paste it in your analysis. Sometimes you can even use it to draw graphs as well. So basically, this is what is expected from you. Don't forget 3 graphs. Don't forget to use all the categories. So you can see that we have covered this part, level 1. We use count, we use sum, and then we use average. We also did basic arithmetic calculation. Level 2, we made use of Countif. We also use round. Level 3, we use if statement, and then even you can use Countif. And then level 4, we made use of nested if as well. We use sort. You can also use lookup. You can make use of lookup or any other difficult functions or the features that you use. So you can use the sort like text. We also use text split and others. Then you can also use other functions like the concatenate and to combine or text join. You can use text join functions to create a code. To create a code for that, especially the external data source. When you have the external data source here, like the source, the category, and then when you have, you can create a code by using the text functions like left or the mate function to do that. All right. Thank you for your time. And then this document will also be under the description of this video. Don't forget to subscribe for me. Bye-bye.